Um, but there have actually, so this might, oh, hello, we're here, everybody. It's really, really great to be here. Thank you so much. And I'm really glad to see you all. Thank you for joining here today. Hi, Deborah in Kentucky, and Lucy in Milwaukee, and Kathy in Virginia, and Jane in England, and Terry in DC, and Busy Graham out in Easton. Nice to see you today. Busy Graham is the director of Carpe Diem Arts, our partner on this project. Hi, Sheila in Florida, and Dion in Massachusetts, and Beth in Kentucky, and Carolyn in Idaho, and Adele in the DMV area, and Alan, the same, nice to see you. Trish, hello, nice to have you with us today, and Hindi in Toronto, and Isabel in Florida. Isabel's one of the ones who's trying to test my memory, but I gotcha, Florida. And Mary Eagle, Western North Carolina, Beryl in Chicago, Colin's mommy, thank you so much.
Hey, Gail.
So as we know,
Gail,
Colin has been, whoops, Wiley, can you
thing.
look for the mute, please?
There's a woman here.
So somebody's not on mute, if you wouldn't mind just muting. So I was saying Beryl's Colin's mom, and as we know, Colin has been with us pretty much for like 169 or whatever we are days of the 169 days. So Beryl, I love having you here. Colin is this week taking a week off because he is managing the move of the Rebels offices plus a million other things, and he's up to his eardrums, as you might imagine with a move. Betsy, our music director from Washington Rebels, great to see you. And Annette in California, hello. Janet and Peter in Toronto. Alex, back in from Tokyo, 1 a.m. You're looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, even though it's 1 a.m. there. Dan in Virginia, great to see you. And Karen in Arizona, hello. And Dennis in Toronto, no, British Columbia. Hi, Dennis, another one who's trying to trick me. Hi, Martha in Oregon, and Melinda in Vermont. And Lilo, great to have you today, Lilo. Lilo's date.
How was your mute morning?
Yeah, it's great to see you. I think we're going to have Lilo CD release party coming on Saturday. Is that right? You're going to be, yep. Okay, great. And Fred in Maryland, nice to see you. Lisa in Indiana. Dick in British Columbia, great to have you again today. And Barry, hello, nice to see you in Maryland. And Kirsten coming in, I think, from Massachusetts, nice to see you. Cecily coming in from around the corner from me in Tacoma Park, Maryland. Great to see my neighbor here. Caroline, and Cecily's also the costume mistress at Washington Rebels. Caroline, nice to see you today. And Henry and Betsy, great to have you guys back in the room again today. And Sandy and lots of other folks not on video. Great to have you today. Oh, Mommy and Harriet and Valerie and Madeline and Diane and others. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here. And also hello to everybody out there on Facebook Live. It's great to have you here today, too. Thank you for joining us. Quick announcements, and I'll make them really quick. If you're new, please pop your state or country into the chat box. We'd love to know where you're coming from. We're here, as many of you know, every day at noon. Please join us any day for song. We've got lots of cool partnerships coming up. One song every day to try and make at least something in the universe feel or seem more sensible, or at least give us the strength to get through whatever all the insensibility is. There is my email in the chat box here and on Facebook. If you'd like to email me questions, comments, or to get on our daily email list, I'm always glad to hear from you. Donate link if you're able to help. All the money that goes to this program goes directly to the artists who are leading us in song. So thank you in advance for that. And a big shout out today to Wiley White, who is managing the tech, the cranky tech on several platforms. Thank you, Wiley, for figuring all that out. And I would like to say, although I really probably don't need to say much about today's artist, Peggy Seeger, who is coming in from England, is one of our regular favorites, and we love singing with her. And today's song I especially love. It's really an interesting time as we're thinking about all of the different communities that are either overlooked or downright neglected in our nation and in our globe. It almost seems some days too overwhelming, you know, as Ruth Bader Ginsburg just passed, and we're thinking again about women's rights. And of course, as we read the news every day, we're thinking about Black Lives Matter and police brutality and all of these other issues. And I'm so pleased that Peggy's bringing us today thoughts about something we haven't actually done a lot of singing about in here. Peggy Seeger, welcome.
Hello, I know so many of you, and some of you I haven't seen in years. Mary Eagle, for goodness sake, how wonderful. This is absolutely fantastic. I can't see everyone's picture. I only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, oh, about 25. And I think there's more people than that, so I haven't seen everybody. But to all the ones I can't see, hello, hello. I chose this song because I was I was relearning a song by Fred Small called The Talking Wheelchair Blues. I needed to relearn it for a program I was doing, and I was astounded at how good it is, The Talking Wheelchair Blues. I made up one myself, and I based it on a woman that I met at Greenham Common. Now, I'm sure that most of you will know about the Greenham Common Peace Camp. If you don't, it was in England, and it was started by a number of women and men in the early 1980s, when cruise missiles were brought to England by our American cousins, and they plonked it down at Greenham Common Air Base, which was the longest runway for airplanes in Europe at the time. And the Americans virtually took over the whole air base, and they could move cruise missiles all around the country. The whole story of it is absolutely scandalous. And I became part of the meetings there. And the women set up a camp. We set up a camp that lasted 20 years, something like that, until the base was shut down and the fence was taken away and it was returned to common land because of the women's action. Well, the women's action was, they had actions there a lot. I say they because I didn't go a lot. I was more on nighttime duty. I would turn up, 5 or 6 o'clock at night and stay overnight and let the women who had been there all day, let them have a rest, and then I'd go home at dawn. Very, very interesting. So I was at one called the Circle the Base. The base, if you circled it, and I walked it once, was 9 miles around the base. And it went through brambles and fields, and it went through marshes and swamps. On one of them, we were up to our knees in water, just going around the whole thing, me and my now partner, Irene. So on this particular day, the whole purpose was for women to join hands for 9 miles, enough women to join hands all the way around 9 miles. Well, we circled around it twice. There were women holding hands for 18 miles. Read about it. It's absolutely fantastic. So they brought a whole stack of our boys in blue to deal with this, and there were about 6,000 or 7,000 policemen there with tactics that they learned in Northern Ireland, and they were not pussyfooting around. They were beating us up. And there was this woman I saw. The thing you did then was that you brought bolt cutters to cut the fence. Now, if you've never handled bolt cutters in your life, you have to. It's thrilling. It's delicious. You can cut through things like this. Just take a pair of bolt cutters and it goes like that. It just cuts it. When I first got them, I used to go out and collect iron pipes from where I could and just cut them. So there was this woman in a wheelchair, and she was about, at that time, she would have been about 50 or 60, and her friends were helping her hold the bolt cutters so that she could feel it. And she was cackling. She was having a fantastic time. So I made my way over to her, and like a damn fool, I knelt down by the wheelchair and said, "I'm a songwriter, and I'd like to write a song about you." This was all the police beating everybody up, and they're yelling and screaming, and people being dragged away and arrested. And she didn't even look up. She just said, "I'm busy." And she just kept on, cutting the fence. So I found out who she was. Jennifer Jones. She was the headmistress of a school in Muswell Hill, which is North London. She was also an architect. So I went and I interviewed her, and I talked to her for 4 hours about what it was like. She got multiple sclerosis when she was in her 40s, and the first thing that happened was that her husband up and left. So she designed a house for herself, knowing what she was going to be becoming. And she talked about all kinds of things. And I just used her words and made this song called, she says, "I'm a woman on wheels." So I called the song "Woman on Wheels." Now, it has a kind of a chorus, which I think we're setting up the words somewhere, Joe. Yeah. You can join in and try and lip read along. The only thing that is continual in this chorus is when you sing "Roll on," Okay. I'm not in good voice because I'll tell you why. I had a first world problem today. I was getting ready, making myself look real pretty for you. So I was taking a shower and I realized that I'd left my hearing aids in. And so I had to get out from the shower and I didn't have a whole lot of time. This was my practice time and I had to dry my hearing aids. And I'd take them apart and put them under the hair dryer. First world problem. So I'm in a bit of rough voice, even rougher than normal, but that's forgivable, I'm sure. So this is Jennifer Jones's song made out of her words, and I called it Woman on Wheels. I'm a woman on wheels, but I still got my brain. I'm gonna tell you how it feels. Let's start again. I'm a woman on wheels, but I still got my brain. I'm gonna tell you how it feels to be your own railway train. Roll down to the corner, put on your brakes. I'm gonna tell you what it takes to be a woman on wheels. Roll on over the holes, the bumps, the cracks, roll on. Do you remember that day we were running for the train and my tire went flat? Roll on. That man over there, the one under the hat, trying so hard not to stare. So you get used to that, still is better than looking away. You get that every day. You're a woman on wheels. Roll on, pity me and I'll pity you. Roll on. All they ever want to talk to me about is the things that I can't do. Roll on. When I was doing this song, I put myself into a wheelchair for 4 hours, and it was terrifying. Just couldn't see anything, When it comes to curbs, when it comes to stairs, I've got my special words, and I don't mean prayers. When it comes to the stores, to reach the merchandise is a major exercise for the woman on wheels. Roll on, I want a chair that can levitate. Roll on, I could race up ramps, run down stairs, wouldn't that be great? Roll on. I went down to Greenham and I was cutting the fence. Cops pulled me out of the way. Then they waded in, they said, you'll never get arrested, a little lady like you. I says, who are you talking to? I'm a woman on wheels. I said, hold on, I've got my rights to demonstrate. Roll on. Next time I went down, I took a dozen bolt cutters and a dozen wheelchair mates. Roll on. I want to be alone, but I'm always under care. I've got this urge to roam. Me and my chair, we're together for life, not together for love. There's things I need more of. I'm a woman on wheels. Roll on. So many places I can't go. Roll on. I want to lie in a field with the flowers, or run on a beach with the sand between my toes. Roll on. Well, I need you, but you need me to tell you about a different view of the world you see, about the pain I feel, about the fight I've won, about how to do some little things you think can't be done. Roll on with the deaf and blind, the lame and halt. Roll on. There's money around to help us all. It's a crippled system, holds us back, keeps the people on wheels off the mainline track. So that's Jennifer Jones's song. Jennifer Jones. She's gone now, but she's left her words in the song. Yeah. And a lot of you were mouthing it along with me. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Peggy. Yes, I saw lots of people singing along actually right from the beginning. So I suspect there are some other folks in the room who know it already. And in fact, I did find it on YouTube. And so I'll include the link tomorrow in the email in case folks want to listen to it again. Well, before I start.
Go on Bandcamp and buy it. I'm out of work for the next year.
There you go. Now you got your instructions, everybody. Go on Bandcamp and buy it. And actually that's across the board right now. We've got so many artists out of work, and it's a really good time to be supporting artists and buying music. So Peggy, before I start sort of a deeper discussion, I just want to cover a couple quick things. So one, somebody chatted, where is Revels moving to? And the answer is we are temporarily going to relocate at Glen Echo Park. I'm not sure if folks know Glen Echo. It's another music and dance sort of entity in the DC area. And we're going to just be there temporarily, as it is that we don't know how long it will be until we need office space again. We are doing a temporary thing for a nonprofit. The saving of rent for many, many months could actually make a big difference during this time when grant funding is going to be harder to get. And so someone has pointed out that the chat is currently not allowing you all to chat with each other. And I do think there might be a setting that shifted during the Zoom's latest update. So I will try to fix that before tomorrow. A quick note to folks, if you can mute on entry, that is actually a setting for you guys, which means when you come in the room, you won't automatically come on with your sound on. That's actually helpful. And sometimes you don't even realize your sound is on. So mute on entry, look at that under your settings. I want to say hi to Sheila, who pointed out that she's new today from British Columbia. Thanks for being in the room with us here. For some reason, I wrote down the word YouTube. I don't even remember what that means anymore. But what I was going to say actually is that as everybody knows, we record on Facebook Live every day, which means that there is a link on Facebook Live specifically to this song. And I know we encourage people to bring your friends in the room and have people join us. But think about it another way, which is that we oftentimes are on topics every day. So today is obviously a very specific topic. Think if you have friends that you know who would be interested in this particular song, and send them the YouTube link to sort of spice up their day or encourage them to think about singing with us more, or just to bring them a little bit of joy or thought. And it's the thought actually that I'm going to turn to now, because I think the last, not chorus, verse of the song talks specifically about thinking about the perspective of the woman in the wheelchair and how life looks so different from there. And I think we are in a time right now, in a climate where potentially the awareness that we are giving to the Black Lives Matter movement and the perspective of Blacks in our nation, and how different their journey has been from ours, and how our journey has impacted theirs heavily. It's a time where that awareness is, for many people that I'm talking to, and we're going through a lot of trainings and different things. A lot of people are talking about how that awareness is started there, but it's being spread out in so many ways that as humans, we are reaching new depths of awareness. Suddenly the notion that we can look at things differently is spreading to many other topics and many other ways of being. So reaching the things on the grocery store shelves, or being afraid of stairs. Amazing ways to think. Peggy, do you want to say something?
No, I'm looking at someone I'm sure I know, but doesn't have her name on the under.
That's great. So actually one of the discussion things I was going to do was have the folks who are in the room who actually know Peggy personally wave, so I can start shouting out names, and maybe we can unmute some people for some hellos. But before we switch to that, I'm going to check again in the chat. Is there anybody who wants to add anything to what we're thinking about? Let's see. Okay. Zoom instructions. Hello, Sheila. Peggy Seeger's Bandcamp link is now in the chat. Thank you so much, Wiley. And lots of people thanking you, and many more thanking yous. Somebody posted that their cousin just died after, it's Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Her cousin just died after many decades of struggle with MS, and she had the same amazing dignity. And her husband also left her early in her illness. Same reason. I wish she'd heard this song. That's beautiful, Lynn. Thank you so much. And many people commenting on what an amazing story, Peggy, that you just told, and what an amazing woman she must have been, this woman that you wrote the song about. Does anybody want to ask a question of Peggy? Or Peggy, do you want to say anything at all? Any more comments? And otherwise I'll turn to hellos. Oh, somebody says, Peggy, you see 25 in gallery view. You can see more by clicking the arrow at the side of the 25 box grid. However, I'm not sure we want to play with that while we're right here in the room, because there's always the option that we will click the wrong button and lose you for the rest of it.
I did. It just
We can practice that though. So someone I think is not on mute, just please check your mutes. I don't see any more questions in the chat. Can I look for hands of people waving who would like to say hello to Peggy, or who know Peggy, or who have met Peggy? And I'm going to scroll through now. So I've got Judy Cook. Hello, Judy. You want to go ahead and unmute and say a quick hi to Peggy? Sandy Moore, you're up next.
I can't see a
Quick
picture.
hello, Peggy, from Judy Cook and from Dennis.
I can't see a picture of you anywhere.
I am,
So
I
actually-
am on the screen. I'm on the next page, probably.
Well, I
So
don't
wait,
know.
hang on. I'm going to try and fix that. Wiley, can you go ahead and do the where it's highlighting the speaker?
Oh, hello. I got
Oh.
you now, Judy. Got you.
Hi,
I
can
got
you see me now?
Oh, yes, I can. Yeah.
Oh,
hello. Hey, wee.
That's really
Good
fun.
song. Now, Judy Cook knows every song that was ever made up.
Judy Cook. That's good to know.
I love that. I love that. Peggy Seeger said so, so it must be true.
I don't know. I've told more lies than you've had Sunday dinners. It's just you don't know what they are.
That's great. Thank you, Judy.
Great to see you. Great to see you. Okay, I'll mute so other people have a chance. Love you, Peggy.
Thank you. So actually, before we go to Sandy and the other hands, Peggy, I'm going to say there is another question I just found in the chat that says, do you play all of those instruments that are behind you?
Yes, I do. I don't play the psaltery very well. You can't see that very well. There it is. It's like a triangle. I know the principle of it, and I can play roughly on it. My son is better at that. But all those instruments, I play the concertina, I play the dulcimer. There's the one that you see hanging there. I don't play nearly as well as I used to because I've got this awful problem with my hand, which is I've got a swollen joint there, and it virtually it kind of ties down the rest of my fingers because it doesn't respond as quickly as it should. So Bill Broomsey said a wonderful thing. He said he spent as he got older, he learned to play simpler. And I find I play simpler, I play slower, thank God, because I have recorded so many songs too fast. And that's me saying it, not just somebody else. So I'm taking more joy in kind of listening to the notes as they go by and playing about 1/10 of the number of notes that I used to play.
That's great.
So, I play piano, guitar, 5-string banjo, English concertina, dulcimer, and autoharp. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, but I'm an accompanist. Essentially, I'm an accompanist. I'm not a soloist. I get nervous when I play solos.
That's funny. So I actually am remembering suddenly a time that I was interviewing your brother in his home up in Beacon, and he was talking about how he learned to play so many instruments. And he said that your dad basically just put instruments all over the house and said they'll figure them out, they'll learn them, they'll start playing with them as little kids, and they'll start picking them up and wanting to learn them. And is that your experience too?
Oh yes. Well, my sons are best on the guitar. Neil plays the autoharp as well, and he plays the mandolin. We always had a mandolin. We always had an autoharp. They were just hanging around the house. Callum will learn any instrument except the fiddle if you give him 2 weeks. And he even taught himself basic piano, which was quite extraordinary. But we always had instruments hanging up. My brother Mike didn't. You said when you referred to my brother, I didn't know which brother you were referring to.
Sorry, good point. Yes, I was talking about Pete.
Yeah, that's what people usually do. But Mike was influential in a different way. But Mike did not hang instruments around the house. I don't think he did. I don't remember seeing them in his house. They had a guitar, but that was it. And Mike played about 5 or 6. I've forgotten how many instruments Mike played.
He played a lot of instruments, I remember, yeah.
It is important. And if you have an instrument that is the right, a grown-up size for kids, I understand that in Mexico, it's a common thing when a kid is about 5 or 6, you hang a regular sized guitar around its head, around its neck. and it just learns to play what it can, and its hand grows into it. And the fact that it's bigger than the child's hand, the child has to stretch and move further rather than being given a child's guitar where its hand just stays the same. You know, making your hand continue to do more than it should is one of the things that you always strive for when you're learning an instrument.
That's great. That's great. And as a child, you remember having instruments all over your house. I
Yes.
mean, both your parents were musicians.
Well, when we learned, well, it's a long story, but when Mike got shingles when he was 17, he had to lie in the dark on his back. And it was just about the time when Pete put out his manual, how to play the 5-string banjo. Mike didn't play any instruments at that point. And he laughed. He says, "You don't learn banjo from a book." So my mother bought a banjo, an old Stewart with a lot of inlay up. He bought it from a convent, a nunnery. And she brought it home and just plonked it in. She said, "Prove it can't be done." So I sat at his bedside with a torch with a flashlight and just read it out, and he lay on his back learning the banjo. So the banjo was the first one that he learned. But he sang from very young. He sang, you know, I remember him singing, "When the whale gets strike and the line runs down, the whale gave a flunder with its tail, and the boat capsized and I lost my darling man. No more Greenland for you, brave boy. No more Greenland for you." Judy Cook is, she's miming it. She knows that one, of course.
See, that's amazing. That's so great. Thanks, Peggy.
I would love if there was a recording of him, but there isn't. There's a recording of me singing age about 8 or 9, but I don't think there's anything of Mike.
Oh, that's really too bad. So of course, there are bazillions of recordings of Mike singing at different ages. And one of my favorite recordings is, I think he's on the jaw harp and he's doing something else. Oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful one. It's in the archive at the Library of Congress, which I'll now make myself a note and see if I can remember to send to you. For those of you who don't know, Mike Seeger, he was in the New Lost City Ramblers with John Cohen, and a musician extraordinaire, played a gazillion instruments, and he's Peggy. So there were 2 Seegers, right? Or Pete and John, and then there were 4 more Seegers, right? So Pete had a different mom than you, and you guys.
First mom, Charles, John, Pete. Second mom, Mike, Peggy, Barbara, Penny.
Yep. So I'll just tell folks in the room this cute little story, since a lot of you do know Nico. At one point when I was interviewing Pete and he was telling me about the instruments all around the house, he was telling me because Nico was walking around his house picking up all these different instruments. So I'm sitting with the camera recording Pete as he's telling me the story, and Nico keeps walking into the frame with this giant thing that he was blowing in, and he would go, "Blah!" and like blast right in the middle of the video and right over the top of Pete talking. And Pete just kept sitting there patiently talking. Then you would hear this blah, which would take the noise out of the room. So that's Nico, age 5, 4, maybe. So I thought you guys would appreciate that. You can imagine him as a smallster. And in fact, I thought at one point I got to find that video and send it to you, Peggy. I think you'd love it. All right, so I think we're going to go back to hand waving and anybody else who knows Peggy. But since we're hanging out in this room a little long, I'm going to actually go ahead and say goodbye to everybody on Facebook. Thanks everybody so much for sticking with us and for the discussion and everything, and hope to see you all tomorrow. And Wiley, you can go ahead and let Facebook go. And I am going to just go back to seeing if everybody wants to say hi to Peggy personally, everybody or anybody. Whether you know or not. Actually, you could just say you know, or just to get your hand picked. Wiley, are you in the room and are you able to turn the Facebook off? I've lost Wiley. All right, hang on, folks. We're gonna just wait 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can turn the Facebook off. I cannot. All right, I'm not sure if Wiley has dropped out. So Facebook, you're actually in for the ride. All right, so anybody who wants to say hi to Peggy, go ahead and wave. I'm looking for hands. Fred Stolnitz, go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Fred, hello.
Hi, Peggy. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Lovely to see you.
Great to see you again. I've enjoyed your previous presentations here and on Peggy at 5.
Thank
Well,
you, Fred. Great to see you. Thank you, Fred. And Sandy Moore, I forgot I skipped over you. You want to go next? Sandy's up.
hey,
Hello. Hi, Peggy.
hello.
I'm the person that sent you the book about Elizabeth Cotton.
I love it. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, good.
It really is. It's wonderful. And
Oh,
it even
good.
makes my mother look like she looked.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, I just wanted to say that I really love this song. I think you've done such a beautiful job of, really, giving us, insight as to what the woman, what her journey was like, when she became wheelchair bound. And I just wanted to mention it's the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And there is a wonderful memoir by a woman named Judy Heumann called Being Human. Her name is actually spelled Heuman. But she was just she still is a ferocious and inspiring activist. She was born with polio, and she just fought and led a famous sit-in in San Francisco where 150 people with disabilities decided that they were going to stay in the HEW building in San Francisco until they got the change that they were seeking. And the Black Panthers brought them food. And this it was amazing what these people did. And most of them had to have aides to help them. And they were just incredible activists. In the chat, there's a mention of a movie also called Crip Camp, and this is all related to the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities.
Thanks for the information. Thanks for the information.
Yes.
I was watching Paralympics basketball the other day.
All right.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes us feel, doesn't it make you feel really like, I don't know, it makes me feel so small and like, well, big deal. I have a body and it works. It's.
Well, you've probably done other things that are very, very difficult. When I spoke to Jennifer Jones about the things that she had to learn, and she knew about my music, and she said, well, wasn't it hard for you to learn to play the banjo? Didn't you have to work hard? I said, yeah, but I mean, it wasn't a matter of getting myself to the toilet but she said, but it's a matter of whatever you are challenging yourself to do. It is something that is good for your character and brings out your character, and you should feel good about it, not compare yourself to people.
So true.
Thank you. Thanks, Sandy. Thanks, Peggy. That was really great. So actually, the button for turning off Facebook Live has been transferred over to me. So I'm going to thank everybody on Facebook Live now. Thanks so much for joining. But we can stay in the room, everybody else, and continue the chat. And Facebook, just a reminder, you're always welcome to join us in here. Just email me and we'd love to have you in here with us.
Joe,
Peggy, yep.
There's someone over here who's been waving her hand for a long, long
Yep.
time.
I'm gonna turn off Facebook, and then we're gonna stay right here in this room.